Good morning or afternoon or whenever you happen to be watching this video, and welcome to class. My name is Andrew Tucker. I'm going to be your instructor for this course, Religion 100. We're going to be doing a brief introduction to Christianity. Some of you may be Christians, some of you may not be, some of you may not have a particular religious path, some of you may be devout followers of other religions. Regardless, the goal of this course is not to make little Christians. The goal of this course is to introduce an academic approach to Christianity, a religious tradition that we are looking at through the lens of study. We're going to use two books that introduce us to ways that help us see Christianity in its broadest terms. There's so many different kinds of Christians, from Eastern Orthodox to Appalachian Baptists, from Pentecostals in South Korea to even the standard American Lutheran. And by the way, there's no such thing as a standard American Lutheran. We're going to use two different textbooks to look at this. The first textbook of the semester is going to be this one, which is called Theology: The Basics by Alistair McGrath. This is going to introduce us to some basic theological concepts. This book is first in the course because it might be more easily accessible. You might be able to find a copy easier. The other book that we're going to be using is called The Backdoor Introduction to the Bible, which is going to help you see the Bible in a number of ways. It's got a number of different accessible points to get into. In other words, it's going to allow you to see the Bible through all sorts of ways, not just as a literal or religious text. It's going to help you understand it better as a religious person if you happen to be a Christian, or a Jew for that matter, as we talk about the Old Testament and the New Testament. And there's a good first step. When you're ever talking about the Old Testament in terms of Judaism, it's not the Old Testament for them, it's the Hebrew Bible. It is their only textbook. It's not the Old Testament, it's the only Testament. So these will be our two textbooks for the semester. Get a hold of them as soon as possible if you haven't already. And yes, you need to have both of these. What we're going to do is briefly, and I say briefly, go over the syllabus just so you understand some of the key points of this course. First off, this is a 4-week intensive course, so there's no really time to do makeup work. There's not really time to fall behind. There's so much to cover in these 4.5 really short weeks that you need to be on top of the deadlines. You can see how you can access me, you can call me, you can email me. The description is an introduction to the Christian faith and its meaning, its biblical background, including consideration of issues in biblical interpretation and basic theological dimensions. The purpose is that this is a foremost academic project. We hope to introduce students of all faith backgrounds to the basic meaning and content of the Christian faith, along with its biblical foundation. This will include dimensions of biblical interpretation and elements of theological conflict. So we will talk about things that in general Christians agree upon, but in particular there are different interpretations. For instance, we will get to relatively soon, what do we mean by the Lord's Supper? How present is Jesus in the sacrament of communion? Or is it even a sacrament? Is it just a memorial meal? The main learning outcomes here are to learn the foundational Bible stories pertinent to the Christian faith. So we're going to have you reading a lot of scripture, and to discuss major theological themes that are important to the development of Christianity, such as the Trinity and salvation, as well as those especially poignant for current cultural settings: anthropology, creation, and biblical interpretation. To develop skills in critical thinking and effective writing. This is key. This is very key. You need to write well in order to get good grades. That seems like a simple claim, but students sometimes seem surprised that they get graded for issues of grammar or issues of punctuation or issues of format when they don't fit the guidelines of the syllabus. Those will affect your grade, so be careful in not just turning in something without editing it, without being sure that it fits the right format. Finally, and this will also affect your grade, be able to respectfully discuss theological traditions functionally different from your own. So, if you are talking about someone whose view of the ordination of women is different from your own, you need to figure out how to do that with a modicum of respect. If it doesn't fit your belief system, You need to be able to argue your point well. Part of the point of academia is learning to make your case. But equally, it's a point of respecting the other person's rights to their opinion and their ability to express it as a person with integrity. We have 3 texts, the 2 books that I just lifted up, and the Common English Bible Translation. You cannot use the King James or the New King James here. You will lose points for that. You cannot use most other biblical translations. There are a few others that you can if you request, but this will be our main translation. That's because we need a translation that's easily accessible in our English language, but also has academic rigor in its translation. The King James is a beautiful translation, but there was so much politic in the translation of the King James Bible that they actually changed Bible verses in order to prove a point. You'll find this, for instance, with who killed Goliath. King James tries to wash over the discrepancies in Scripture about who killed Goliath, but we'll find out as you read the backdoor introduction to the Bible that there are 2 different stories about who killed Goliath, and guess what? King David's not the one in both of those stories. So we've got to use a text that's faithful to the original documents as much as we can, and the Common English Bible is very good at doing that. There are assignments here, obviously. Read everything I tell you to read and watch everything I tell you to watch. Simply put, if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to score well. You have weekly reflection in reading and conversation in the discussion boards on Canvas. What's important here is that you must post an original thought for every chapter you read. So for instance, the first chapter in theology, the basics, is faith. So after you read faith, I want you to post briefly a paragraph or 2 in the discussion board about what faith means in the textbook and how that relates to your own concept of faith. And then you'll do the same thing for the next chapter, which is God, and then creation, and so on. Also, you must respond to 3 classmates' postings for every chapter. So for every chapter, you should have 4 total postings. 1 original posting of yours, and 3 responses. If you want to know how many total postings that means, look at how many chapters are in each of these books, and then multiply that by 4. Quizzes. There will be 4 reading quizzes throughout the course. Every Wednesday, a reading quiz will be due. Interest pieces. You have 3 short papers, 500 words, due. What I want you to do with these is take a topic that you're interested in and delve deeper into it, okay? That means that I want you to give it some more consideration, a bit more research, and ask some more questions about it. Obviously, 500 words is not a lot, so it shouldn't be some kind of long, extended research project. But I do want you to look at what other people think about this topic. So if you're interested in, let's say, the sacraments and how many sacraments there are, why is it that Catholics think there are 7, that many Protestants think there are 2, that some Protestants don't talk about sacraments at all? And what does the word sacrament mean? And then ask further questions for research to help guide your study. You have a final exam that will cover all the material from the course. It is comprehensive. It'll include everything. This is another requirement that's very important. One of the things that we've gotten lazy about in this country is the fact that our theological tradition tells us that God has no gender. That God is not a big guy in the sky or a big girl in the sky, not a big woman in the sky or a big boy in the sky. That God is beyond gender. Yet so many people use male-only language for God. This class requires you to use gender-neutral language. Now this could mean using both him and her in reference to God. This could mean using they or there. It could mean any number of other ways. There are resources in week 1 on Canvas for how to use gender-neutral language, so please pay attention to those. Late work policy. You're going to lose 10% for every day it's late. Every day. And because this course is so short, that means after 4 days, the assignment's automatically a failing assignment. The grading scale for LR is on your syllabus. I would also say that remember that an A is not an average grade, it's an exceptional grade. A doesn't mean that you just completed all the work, it means that you were outstanding in its completion. Also, one more piece about late work. If you contact me before the deadline with a legitimate emergency that you need an extension, we can work on that. Again, it's a short course, so we don't have much time for extensions, but we will work on that together. The key here is you have to contact me before the deadline. I understand that emergencies arise. I'm a pastor. I deal with funerals. I deal with early births. I deal with illness a lot. But you also still have time to send me a quick email just to say, hey, this happened. I'd like an extension, please. And we can work from there together on that kind of thing. If you don't let me know until after the fact, I understand, but that doesn't mean you'll be able to receive an extension for that. Spelling and grammar matter. I know I said that once, I'm saying it again. Accommodations for disabilities. We have a policy at LR that we will do our best to accommodate any documented disabilities you might have. So please let me know if there are things we need to accommodate, and we'll get you in touch with Sherry Proctor, who's the Director of Disability Services. And if you'd like to contact her directly without talking to me first, I understand that. I know these are personal things that we have to deal with. So please do whatever is most comfortable for you. Obviously, you're going to need a computer with a high-speed internet connection. And if you have any technical support issues, please contact the LR Help Desk. With that being said, I hope you are excited about this course. I am. Let me give you one more piece of information that's important. The videos that you'll be watching, the rest of them, not this one, this has been recorded just for this course, but the rest of the videos are in an order that they were not originally intended. They were originally intended for a 16-week semester-long course. So the content in terms of the book reflections is still the same, but there are assignment directions, there are reflections on particular questions that have been asked in a course. So please ignore those. You'll hear something about a digital project. Ignore that. This course is way too short to try to put a digital project together. Other than that, though, please watch the videos. If you're having trouble with the quizzes, the videos give you a good sense of the things that I think are important, so they're going to probably let you know what I'm more likely to pull from the textbooks when I put things on the quizzes. That will give you at least a bit of an introduction. If you need anything else, please contact me. It is my job and my goal to be helpful to you and to help you achieve the best of your ability here in this course. I'm excited to be working with you. Please, please, please don't hesitate to be in touch with me. One of the great joys of my life is teaching and working with students who are pursuing truth in any number of areas. So contact me and don't hesitate. I want to help on the front end rather than try to do emergency fixes on the back end. You are most welcome in this course, whether you have a particular religious tradition or you don't have a religious tradition at all. I am blessed to be a part of this and so thankful to have the opportunity to work with you. Let me know how I can help. Blessings on your day. Take care.